There's a certain electricity in the air right now when you look around the league, and it is impossible not to feel it when talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Every coaching move across the NFL seems to ripple outward, and one of the biggest waves of the moment is the growing expectation that a major head coaching change is about to reshape the landscape in New York. If that move becomes official, it will not only redefine the direction of the Giants, but also influence how the rest of the division prepares for the future. A proven commanding presence on the sideline would immediately raise the level of competition. And that reality forces every rival, especially Dallas, to think one step ahead rather than simply reacting. From a Cowboys perspective, the focus remains firmly on what is happening inside the building. And right now, the most fascinating storyline is the exhaustive search for the next offensive coordinator. This is not a rushed process, and it does not feel like a surface-level check of familiar names. Instead, it feels deliberate, wide-ranging, and intentional, almost as if the organization understands how pivotal this hire could be for the next phase of the team. The defense has talent, speed, and playmakers, but maximizing all of that depends heavily on the vision and adaptability of the coordinator calling the shots. One of the more intriguing interviews comes from a coach who has built his reputation in the secondary and in the passing game on the defensive side of the ball. His background blends professional experience with a strong foundation in college football, which often creates a unique perspective when it comes to teaching fundamentals while also adapting to the speed and complexity of the NFL. There's a noticeable pattern here, with several candidates coming from respected defensive coaching trees that emphasize structure, communication, and versatility. That alone suggests the Cowboys are prioritizing scheme fit and developmental upside rather than simply chasing a familiar resume. What makes this particular candidate stand out is the combination of youth and upward trajectory. There is no long list of previous coordinator titles, and there's no history as a head coach. But that is exactly why this interview feels refreshing. For years, fans have asked to see the Cowboys step outside of their comfort zone, to stop recycling the same profiles and instead invest in someone who is still climbing, still hungry, and still evolving. This kind of move carries risk, but it also carries the potential for innovation, especially in a league that constantly rewards defenses capable of disguising coverages and adjusting on the fly. At the same time, Dallas is also taking a serious look at a coach who stepped into an interim defensive coordinator role in New York and steadily improved as the season progressed. That kind of experience matters, even if it came under challenging circumstances. Taking over midstream is never easy, and the ability to stabilize a unit while gradually adding aggression and creativity speaks volumes about a coach's adaptability. His prior work with linebackers and his emphasis on pressure packages fit well with what many Cowboys fans want to see more consistently on Sundays. There is also value in understanding how these candidates use their personnel. Creative deployment of a defensive centerpiece can change the identity of an entire unit, and that willingness to adjust the scheme around a player's strengths rather than forcing rigid roles is something Dallas has searched for. When a defense becomes unpredictable, offenses hesitate. And hesitation at the professional level often leads to mistakes. That is the kind of edge the Cowboys are trying to rediscover. What stands out most in this entire process is the sheer number of interviews. This is not a token search designed to justify a predetermined decision. This feels like a genuine attempt to explore multiple philosophies, backgrounds, and coaching styles before narrowing the field. Whether a specific name excites you or not, it is hard to ignore that the approach itself marks a shift. Instead of limiting the pool to a small, familiar circle, Dallas is casting a wide net and allowing ideas to compete. That broader approach also opens the door for creative staff construction once the final decision is made. Some of the coaches being interviewed have experience at multiple position groups, and others may not land the coordinator role, but could still factor into the defensive staff in meaningful ways. Continuity matters, but so does injecting fresh perspectives, especially on a side of the ball that thrives on collaboration and detailed preparation. As all of this unfolds, there are still high-profile defensive minds around the league whose situations remain fluid. Contract timelines and organizational priorities elsewhere could suddenly shift availability, and that possibility alone is worth monitoring. Certain coordinators have proven they can elevate a defense quickly. And even if their long-term ambitions extend beyond coordinating, the immediate impact they could bring is undeniable. Timing, patience, and strategic restraint could all play a role in how the Cowboys navigate the next stage of this search. The key takeaway right now is not about locking in a single favorite, but recognizing that Dallas appears committed to getting this decision right rather than getting it done quickly. The defense is too important, the window is too real, and the margin for error is too thin to treat this hire as routine. Every interview, every conversation, and every evaluation feeds into a larger picture of what the Cowboys want their defense to become, and that picture is still taking shape as the process continues to unfold. As this coaching search continues to stretch out, another layer begins to emerge, and it revolves around patience and leverage around the league. Contracts expire, internal negotiations stall, and suddenly new possibilities appear. That reality matters for Dallas because some of the most accomplished defensive minds do not need to rush into the first available interview slot. Their resumes speak loudly enough that they can afford to wait, observe how the market develops, and choose situations that align with both their ambitions and their football philosophy. For the Cowboys, understanding that dynamic is just as important as conducting interviews themselves. There is one defensive coordinator in particular whose situation has drawn attention because of how much respect he commands for transforming units quickly and aggressively. His defenses are known for pressure, discipline, and an edge that reflects his personality. At the same time, his long-term aspirations clearly extend beyond coordinating. He wants another opportunity to lead an entire organization. And that desire complicates every decision he makes. Taking a lateral role only makes sense if it keeps that larger goal alive. And that is where timing becomes critical for teams interested in his services. From the Cowboys' point of view, this is where strategy matters. Early stages of a coaching search often involve broad conversations, virtual meetings, and initial evaluations. That phase allows a team to identify trends, narrow preferences, and clarify what it truly wants from the position. More established candidates do not necessarily need to be part of that early wave. Their track record already answers many of the baseline questions, and in some cases, it makes more sense to wait until the field narrows before engaging in deeper, more personal discussions. That approach also prevents the process from becoming rushed or reactionary. Dallas has been criticized in the past for moves that felt safe rather than inspired, familiar rather than forward-thinking. This time, the organization appears willing to let the process breathe, even if that means sitting quietly while other teams make faster announcements. In a league where impatience often leads to regret, restraint can be a competitive advantage. Another element worth considering is how the eventual hire fits with the existing roster. The Cowboys have invested heavily in defensive talent, particularly players who thrive when given freedom to attack rather than simply react. The next coordinator must be able to blend structure with aggression, allowing playmakers to dictate terms while still maintaining accountability and communication across all levels of the defense. That balance is difficult to achieve, and it is why this hire carries so much weight. It is also why versatility among candidates matters. Some of the coaches under consideration have worked with defensive backs, others with linebackers, and others with entire fronts. That range of experience creates flexibility when building out the rest of the staff. A coordinator who understands multiple position groups can better integrate assistance, adjust responsibilities, and respond when injuries or personnel changes force adjustments over the course of a long season. Those details add up. Meanwhile, changes elsewhere in the division continue to influence the broader picture. If rival teams strengthen their leadership and identity, the margin for error shrinks even further. Every schematic weakness gets exposed more quickly and every misadjustment becomes magnified. Dallas knows that standing still is not an option, especially in a division where familiarity breeds constant chess matches rather than surprises. What makes this moment compelling is that there is no obvious answer yet. There is no single candidate who checks every box without question. Instead, there's a spectrum of possibilities, each with its own strengths and risks. Younger coaches bring innovation and hunger, but come with uncertainty. More established names bring credibility and proven systems, but may have eyes on future opportunities beyond the coordinator role. Choosing between those paths requires clarity about what the Cowboys value most right now. That clarity seems to be forming through volume and comparison. Interviewing a wide range of candidates allows patterns to emerge. Certain philosophies resonate more strongly. Certain teaching styles align better with the roster. Certain personalities fit the culture the team wants to reinforce. Even candidates who do not get the job contribute to that understanding, helping define what the final choice should look like. As the days move forward, the process will inevitably shift from exploration to decision-making. Conversations will become more focused, meetings more detailed, and expectations more concrete. When that happens, the Cowboys will have to commit, knowing that this choice will shape how the defense prepares, practices, and competes every single week. For now, the story is about patience, evaluation, and intent. Dallas is signaling that this hire matters, not just for next season, but for the identity of the team moving forward. The pieces are on the board, the options are still open, and the direction of the defense remains in motion as the search continues to evolve. There's also an internal accountability factor tied to this decision that cannot be ignored. When a team commits to a coordinator, it is not only choosing a play caller, but also defining standards for preparation, communication, and adaptability. Players quickly sense whether a coach has a clear plan and whether that plan evolves week to week. For a defense that has shown flashes of dominance, but also stretches of inconsistency, the next coordinator must command respect from day one, while still earning trust through results and adjustments. Another layer involves how this defense responds in the biggest moments. Regular season success is important, but postseason football exposes every weakness. Opponents study tendencies relentlessly, and coordinators who fail to self-scout or pivot mid-met often get left behind. Dallas is clearly searching for someone who understands that reality. Someone who builds a system flexible enough to survive when the pressure is highest and the margin for error is almost non-existent. There's also a developmental aspect that carries long-term significance. Young players entering the league need more than just a scheme. They need clarity, repetition, and coaching that accelerates growth rather than overwhelms it. A coordinator who can simplify without dumbing things down gives his unit a chance to play fast and confident. Over time, that confidence compounds, turning raw talent into reliable production across multiple seasons. All of this reinforces why the Cowboys appear comfortable letting the process play out instead of forcing a conclusion. The next defensive coordinator will influence not only how this team lines up on Sundays, but how it thinks, reacts, and evolves over time. Each additional conversation adds context. Each evaluation sharpens the vision, and every passing day brings the organization closer to a decision that will define the tone and direction of the defense moving forward. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are stirring around the Dallas Cowboys as tensions reportedly rise behind the scenes in a story that could reshape the franchise's locker room dynamics. Sources close to the team suggest that head coach Brian Schottenheimer has made a dramatic statement. He is allegedly prepared to resign if team owner Jerry Jones decides to bring back a so-called troublemaker player. While neither party has commented publicly, insiders hint that this is far from a passing remark, signaling deep fractures between the coaching staff and ownership. Schottenheimer, known for his emphasis on discipline and cohesion, is reportedly frustrated with the idea of reintroducing a player whose past behavior has caused disruptions. The coach's warning is said to be a measure of last resort, reflecting a firm stance on team culture rather than a reactionary move. Sources claim that the player problem in question has a history of off-field controversies and locker room conflicts, and Schottenheimer fears that his return could undermine the progress he has been trying to make. On the other side, Jerry Jones has a reputation for making bold, sometimes unpredictable moves when it comes to personnel. His relationship with the team's roster is often characterized by a willingness to take risks on high-profile players, regardless of past incidents. The tension between the owner's instinct for star power and the coach's demand for stability appears to have reached a boiling point. According to those with knowledge of internal discussions, the Cowboys' locker room dynamics are already a subject of intense scrutiny, with fans and analysts watching every development closely. If Schottenheimer were to follow through on his threat, it would mark a dramatic escalation, one that could reverberate across the league and spark debates about the balance of power between coaching staff and ownership. For now, speculation runs rampant with no official confirmation, leaving supporters anxiously anticipating what might happen next. While some insiders suggest this could be a negotiation tactic, others warn it could signal a genuine crossroads for the Cowboys' leadership. The drama surrounding this potential showdown underscores the delicate balancing act between talent acquisition and maintaining a cohesive team culture. Dallas may be on the brink of one of its most headline-grabbing internal battles in recent memory. In the coming weeks could reveal whether Schottenheimer's ultimatum is bluster or a harbinger of a seismic shift within the organization. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next